Oh, it's gonna be like a little garage shed type thing, you know.
Once we get to the end of the driveway,
Yeah.
if you wanna like ask any questions in particular.
Ooh, I don't know.
Well, it's your project, so I don't know.
You didn't really just
Yeah, I got a lot of things
Yeah,
to
you
say,
narrate it,
so
but if you have anything you wanna ask,
yeah.
just make a point to do it.
Oh, it's good.
I think I'll cover pretty much everything.
What's going on up the street? Anything?
Don't get in.
With that house?
Don't get in the way.
Is there any, did they rebuild anything up there?
Oh yeah, there's a house. There's a guy living in it. He's been shooting a gun all day.
Is it the same people or
So
different
no,
people?
it's a cop.
Oh, okay.
That's and they shoot
I
guns
heard that when we pulled in.
all weekend.
Oh, God.
Automatic rifles, shotguns, everything.
Right.
Yeah, glad I don't have a. Yeah, they're always blowing up things over
You
there.
meet them?
No, Richard, my snooty friend down the street. He's like a news bag. He knows everything, everybody. He knows where he works. He's a cop in Warwick. He
Okay.
knows the hours he works. He sells them wood. I met his father-in-law. His name is Harold. He did some of the work on the house.
Yeah.
You should see all the turkeys we have.
I know, huh? Have you
Huge.
always gotten a lot of them?
Yeah, they come by. But this year they're really
Yeah.
camping out because I've been throwing a lot of feed out.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm just behind you with this, Mike?
Yeah, just follow. Okay, so we'll start right here so I can get this.
Okay.
So what are we doing?
Well,
No,
you're gonna stand.
I'll just talk about the land and
Yeah.
the house and.
I'm not gonna focus on you guys the whole time. Like,
Yeah, it'll look good if it's all on a video.
Okay.
Plus, then you'll have practice.
So what am I saying? Hi, this is my
Yes.
Grandpa Poppy.
Yeah, that's all.
I mean,
Or
it's
should I
probably
say?
not gonna get used, so just whatever you say. is
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's nothing.
Hi, I'm Tegan. This is my Grandpa Poppy. We're gonna show you his house.
Yeah, that's
Take it away, Poppy.
okay. So here we are at 80 Stubtown Road. It's a 15-acre piece of property, very rocky, as you can see. We moved in here in 1980, and it took about 2 years to build the house to the point where we could live in it. So we started in 1978, and the property is mostly pristine woods. It's never really been settled. There's no old buildings on it or anything. And it's not really usable for like farming or anything. As you can see in there, the rocks are all over the place, huge rocks. Some of them you probably couldn't even move with the biggest bulldozer. Lots of natural trees. All the pine trees we planted. The other trees, mostly oak and maple. We burn wood, so it comes in handy. A lot of trees just through nature drop every year, and we just pick them up and burn them in the wood stove. And we put this road in. It's about 1/10 of a mile. Had to truck in a lot of dirt. But also, if you look to the left, you can see where the excavator who did the property road, he dug a lot of the dirt out of the side of the hill. So it saved a lot of money in forming a road. You can see it's built way up. When you look down there, you can see how almost impossible it would have been to drive in here without a road, unless you had like a four-wheel drive. And so taking advantage of the situation, I took all the rocks I gathered up and I built a lot of crazy animals out of them. Please don't lock me up. Anyway, we'll hear the turkey. Oh.
I think it's Taylor.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Lucas.
What's your favorite?
Here's a butterfly out of
Oh.
rocks. You never noticed. And here's a like an alligator type thing. I think that looks just like an ostrich. And my grandson Sam, he's given it a name. He calls it the Illuzzi Park Project, IPP. And look at this, Tegan. You can see the face
yeah,
forming in there. I'm gonna paint on that. There's like a turtle, and here's a seahorse, and it's kind of like a joey squirrel head. And here's a face that Taylor made, and Tegan made one of these somewhere. Yes, and that's another stone animal.
I like that one with the tongue.
Yeah, that's just a piece of driftwood there. And I have a lot of wind chimes in here.
What do you think your favorite one is?
Oh, the favorite sculpture?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like them all. Look at this giant one over here with the eyes. It's coming out of water. And that's a rock I found. It looks just like a sheep, doesn't it? Just like a sheep's head. Found it just like that. I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything to it. Yeah, all these hanging pipes, they all make a beautiful sound when the wind blows. And you can see, you can get a good shot of the house from here. This is, it's facing due south, so we can get the most sun. And the angle of the house is set up so that you get the maximum sun penetration in the dead of winter, December 21st. And in the summer, the sun is overhead, so you don't get it into the house as much. And it pretty much heats itself between the windows and the wood stove. We have a gas-fired furnace, which does the job if we don't feel like burning wood, but we like it. We like burning wood, so it's not a problem. All the rocks were all under the ground or on the ground, so this was completely filled in with rocks. We kind of channeled this a little bit and made like a little stream. It runs pretty good when we get a heavy rain. And this is there's a pipe that runs under the driveway here to keep it from flooding. And that, too bad it isn't really wet. It runs flows like a waterfall over here. Our cat used to go in there, catching little things. We had to keep her out. When the kids were small, we used to send boats under the road, little paper boats, and we'd wait for them. And this is weird here. This is a sculpture. It's from an old tree trunk, but I named it after my father, Pat, and he has the same look in his eyes. He was kind of a stern guy, and he spent 4 years in the Philippines, so that's like a Saipan hat. And look at that, that's my dead brother, Tom. Doesn't that look like Tom? And that's a friend of mine that I went to college with. His name is Jimmy. I don't even know that I'm going to do this, and then I finish it, and I say, hey, that looks just like Jim. And then, Mike, this is one of Steve. Remember Steve? And remember my partner Steve at the plastic shop? The Viking guy? And then underneath him, that's an X-rated sculpture I found in the woods. Check it out. I didn't do anything to it. It came out of the woods. That's a root from a tree. That's my mother, Annie. She has a mustache. You know, those old Italian ladies that had the little stuff. This is my latest project. It's a octagonal shed garage carport. And I remember Erin said, what are you building an octagon for? Why don't you build a square? And I said, oh, because I want to do something different. But now I know I should have built a square, because every dang piece of wood in this is a different length and a different angle. When you build something square, everything's square. Everything's the same. Every single board is different. They're already in it. Yeah, the carpenter bees found it. Mike, I took it down yesterday, but I had to I built a floor right across the whole thing. That's how I got the roof up. And I stood on the floor, and then I lifted that octagon ring up there. I had to take it in 2 pieces because it was too heavy. And that table out on the back deck, the octagon table, the thick plexiglass, when you look at it, that's going to go right in that hole. It's 1-inch thick plexiglass, so it should be pretty cool. So it'll have some nice, like, skylight effect. Yeah, and I keep a lot of old wood around, pallets, and you can use them for framing and whatnot. And here's a big pile of native lumber. I'm using a lot of native lumber, big, beautiful, like 1-inch boards. During the pandemic, you couldn't get lumber. It was very expensive, so I went to a local lumber yard, and the price was a lot better, and they had wood, You couldn't even get wood, and you couldn't get much of anything at the height of the pandemic. So this is a stairway that I made from like flat rocks that I found around the property. And the siding on the house is made from aluminum flashing that I bought from a insulation company It was left over from projects. It came in like a big 3-foot by 100-foot roll, and I cut them all and bent them all and stuffed them under the shingles. And they've been on there for about 40 years. I never painted them. You know, the funny thing about building materials today, they make all the siding, well, now it's starting to change, but they would make all the siding out of wood, and wood rots. And then you get a coffee cup and what is it, styrofoam, and it never goes away.
Yeah.
So why don't they make the building materials out of a product that lasts forever, like the plastic or foam? So yeah, that's starting to change now.
When did you first get interested in building? Have you always
Yeah, I always built things, small furniture, and this, I never built a house before, but my dad helped me. He was a carpenter in the military for 4 years, and he was in the Corps of Engineers, and he came down and helped me with the heavy framing and everything, so it was really great to get that experience and extra pair of hands.
Okay, yeah, let's, why don't we go through the basement?
Yep.
And,
Yeah, we can look at the flooring.
yep, look at the flooring and maybe talk about how the wood stove heated it.
Yep.
So just kick back up with like, okay, let's take a walk, let's walk into the basement.
I turn the light on here. Okay, and here we are in the basement. I have a workshop here. Basically, the house was built from this workshop. I have a lot of different hand tools and bench tools. Pretty much everything you'd need to do simple woodworking. And we'll head into the middle of the basement. And I have a wood stove right in the middle of the house, and with a steel grate above it to let the heat go up into the house. And it works out pretty nice, pushes the heat around very effectively. I have a lot of art projects here from over the years. I was an art teacher for a while, and I had some one-man exhibits where I showed paintings and sculptures. And this is a very unique idea right here, Mike. This. Now, we have 3 lines, but if you step back and go down a little, they make a cube out of just 3 lines. See the cube?
Yeah, that's cool.
And I don't think I've ever seen that before. I think that is actually an original idea. The kitty pees down here. I took her litter box out for the show.
Now is this the original, like...
Yeah, this is the old flooring. What it looked like before we put it in. It came out of an old barn and mills, and it was it's 3 inches thick, tongue and groove, hard yellow pine, and it took a lot to sand that to a finish, which you'll see when we get up on the first floor. All the other mechanicals are in the basement, so they're pretty easy to access. lots of photographs and old pictures all over the place.
Ooh, look at that thing. Ian. Wow. It's kind of cute. It's fun.
Looks, Jill, my friend, he comes from Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
He painted that like 20 years ago, and that's what's happening there now.
I know, huh? Gosh, how scary.
All right, I get the lights.
Now we're gonna head up to the first floor.
And
So this is the floor when you sanded it?
yes, this is the flooring after we sanded it for a long time with a big giant drum sander.
And where did you get this wood
This
from?
came from a demolition company that tore down old barns and industrial buildings. This wood is probably over 100 years old. And these are some of the posts that came from the building that this floor was supported on.
And the doors?
The doors, these came from I believe, an old schoolroom. I worked in Providence, and a lot of these doors and other pieces of wood were discarded and for new building projects to take place. And you know, I grabbed anything I could and recycled it into the house. The house really only cost about $15,000 to build back in 1980. But of course, we have added a lot of like fancy appliances and things that would make it like we have all the luxuries of life. You know that. Hey, how about that chess set from Nuts and Bolts?
Has to be dusted.
Check it out.
You want some more of the mozzarella? Yeah. Sure. It's in that little refrigerator right there. Look for yourself.
Mike,
Strawberry.
Kathy, I'm gonna go upstairs, but maybe you should come and watch out for the cat.
She's up there. She's not going to do anything.
You think she'll run down the
Yeah,
stairs?
but there's no dogs.
Okay, all right, yeah, all right.
How did you make this chair?
That's cut out of a giant tree stump with a chainsaw. It's took a lot of carving and
Trying to live.
Yeah. How'd you get in here? You picked
Ian.
that up?
Ian, Ian hurt his back lifting it up the stairs.
Are these pieces also from the barn?
No, those are just regular lumberyard. I came in this one before I moved in the house. I came in with a sandblaster, and I sandblasted it so it would be all clean because the wood was outside for a long time and it turned gray. So I put on this special suit and I sandblasted it, and then I put some oil on it to keep it. Looks good. Came out good. And these are These are regular, these are just fluorescent lights, Mike, but I put a, I cut a piece of wood to look like little lotus flowers over and over again. And it hides the fluorescent light, but it gives a nice backlighting to the space. So it's all stuff that didn't cost a lot of money to do, you know. They're just like industrial fluorescent lights, but when you cover them up like that, they look like something totally different.
Go upstairs in the top room.
Yeah, I will. We'll go upstairs. And you want to get a shot of this railing, Mike? This is an old discarded, those are the steps from an old discarded fire escape that I turned into a railing. And that's the octagon piece that's going to go on top of the shed, that big tabletop there.
Oh, out there.
Yeah, those were steps on an old iron fire escape.
So where'd you get those from?
That came from the library. They tore down the fire escape. They throw everything away, so. I mean, I added the balls and the little triangles, but the rest of the stuff was just in this piping and just figuring out how to make it go together.
Yeah, like a puzzle.
Just little welding marks.
How many kids will that fit?
Oh no, I have to figure that out. Still have to email them their money soon.
Now, is that part of your project?
I made all the windows too.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
have
show those.
Mike get a shot of that.
Show the windows, Dad.
Mike, get an outside shot of the window, and then we'll go inside, and I'll show you how they open.
I guess people like it because it's easy.
Yeah. I do get like little ball ones, but not like.
Yeah, this one's like all, like a giant ball of balls. Is what it's like.
And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the cabinets.
Okay.
We made the doors, but the cabinets are just like regular
They're not
store-bought,
recycled.
you know, frames.
They're not recycled.
No, those are just store-bought things.
That's alright.
Are you guys gonna be hungry at 4 o'clock? Mm-hmm. Did you have lunch? No.
And because of the angle walls, we had to, you know, build a lot of the appliances into the wall so we could keep some good floor space. We made all the cabinet doors and bought the handles. That glass came from an old art gallery ceiling. It's like a pebbled glass, beautiful pebbled glass. And the frames inside, they're just regular, you know, Home Depot frames that we put our own doors on. And once you put the door on it, you don't really see the frame. So it was a very inexpensive way to make a good-looking set of cabinets. And we have a little laundry room that goes through into the bathroom. And it kind of tucked everything in along the wall there. It's a little tight, but it works out good for us.
You want to show the windows?
Now,
Show the windows.
oh yeah, this is I made these windows from scratch. Got some blinds on them. And the good thing about these is there's nothing that rots because the plexiglass that's on the outside of it goes right to the edge, and then I put aluminum on the edge, so there's no wood to get all rotted out, you know. And you know, didn't cost much, but they work. They're a little tricky to open, but once you get the idea, it's not bad. Remember that? Lukey was like a doll. Lukey was the size of a doll. Mike, here's that T-shirt you got me from Mexico. I couldn't wear it. It was too beautiful.
Probably too small.
And here's made these doors from just 2x4s. And again, if you look at the way if you look at the outside of the door, they're really weatherproof because the plastic goes right to the edge, and then I have the frame is made out of aluminum, so there's no wood exposure to the elements. So you don't ever have to paint it or, refinish the rotten wood. And here's an old lawn chair I painted up. Took it apart and painted it all different colors. There's a little end table from a tree stump. I put a little screwy thing in the middle of it there. But yeah, it's just a rough stump. Look at inside, Mike. It was all eaten by bugs, like ants. And then we'll go up. You can take a quick shot at.
Tell about the outside of the house.
Yeah, we did. And you can take a look at the bathroom here. I made this ceiling out of plywood. Kind of echoes the shape of the house. And here's a secret compartment. Woohoo! I'll put your. We have a lot of different lights everywhere.
Spin the secret compartment again.
It's like right out of James Bond.
Now, what did this originally look like?
This was just a basic bathroom, but we redid it once, so.
Yeah. You added the tub and stuff?
Yeah, the tub and the specialty tile. Like I say, a lot of the wall treatments, they're very tricky with the angle of the house, Everything had to be like cut at a specific angle. And these, again, are just industrial fluorescent lights. I went with fluorescent lights because they use a lot less electricity for the amount of candle power they give you. And I did switch to a low wattage fluorescent light, but the next step will be to go to electricity down. But we use them so rarely,
The thing stopped, so can you just say that again, because that might be useful.
Yeah. These are all industrial grade fluorescent lights. I went with fluorescent lights because they use less energy per candle power. Eventually I will replace them with LED tubes, but like I say, we don't use the lighting in here that often, maybe just a few minutes a day, so how much time can you invest to save $1 or $2?
Well, that would be abnormal.
And yes, what else? Well, that's pretty good for the first floor. Well, this mahogany I got out of an old office building in Providence. I got 500 feet of mahogany just laying on the sidewalk. I did the whole stairway with it. This wood costs about $10 a board foot now, or more. This is just regular framing lumber on the stairs.
How about the floating staircase?
Oh, we're gonna see the kitty.
Describe the staircase, how it's like a floating staircase. Is that special?
Yeah, it's just framing lumber that we put together to, it's inexpensive wood. It's the same kind of wood that the house frame is made out of, but when you sand it down and clean it up, came out pretty good, you know.
I always used to be scared to walk down the stairs. I would fall.
And the upstairs here, it's just a big loft space. It's only 2 people now, so that's
How'd
all.
you have it set up when?
When Mikey and Selena were kids, we had this section off her, but that closet wasn't there and the bathroom wasn't there, so they had like a little submarine room.
What is this made out of?
That's just paper, like Oriental paper. Call it rice paper. Another, you know, it's not easy to maintain, but yeah, and so the stovepipe goes right up through the whole house. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know if you want to come up here, but it might be hard to do with the camera, but this is a space. This is an old library ladder.
It'll work, just so you can stay.
One at a time here. You ever been up here, Tegan?
Yeah, I think a couple times.
Yeah? I finished it off, I painted
it's
it.
good.
And the good thing about this is I can climb up here and I can get out on the roof if there's a leak or it needs to be fixed, you know? And I think eventually this, you can grab onto those handles there. Eventually these sheets of plastic are gonna break. They've been up here 40 years, but see how they're starting to craze, Mike? A little bit. That's from the sun. Yeah, and I was saying to Tegan, this is a good little setup because I can get out here and maintain the roof, you know, without setting up a ladder, and I can bring materials up here and I can store them out of the weather, and you know, it's a very small roof, but because of the siding, you know, makes it so. Everybody be careful. I grew marijuana up here.
Say, you're gonna start make this
Man, was it
growing well.
potent. I was getting real paranoid though every time a helicopter flew over because I didn't have any covering or anything. And then Selena was threatening to turn me in to the local cop that came to the school.
The dare cop?
Yeah, she came to the school, and Selena came home and said, the police came to the school and they said you're not supposed to be smoking or growing marijuana. We said, oh, don't tell anybody. She was like a good doobie, you know. We had to really talk her out of it. Oh, this roof is just rolled tar roofing, and I put a bunch of coats of like a ceiling system on it. This roof is over 40 years old. I mean, it leaked in the beginning, but I figured out how to stop it. Yeah, you can grab onto that handle there, honey. Right there. Yeah, go the way you're going, backwards. That's the way to do it. But, you know, just to steady yourself if you need it. Oh yeah, those are turkey buzzards.
They better not get Joey.
Yeah, they're always flying around here. They get like little dead animals and stuff. They don't bother anything though. They eat a lot of roadkill. They keep the place clean. Yeah, just use these handles, Mike. Yeah, I thought it was warm in the house till we got up there.
Yeah.
Woo! It's good on a winter day, but it doesn't have much of a use other than decoration. I thought, it would be a good idea even in the winter, if I put like some kind of fan and sucked the heat out of there and brought it down to the first floor or the basement. Don't worry about that door, Mike. I'll get it later.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, there's so much heat up there. I could, if I had like a duct system, blow it down into the basement.
And just let it float back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just find its way back up the stairway, And yeah, here's more windows. We have 10 of these windows. They're 4 by 6 each, 4 foot by 6 foot. All the windows in the house are plexiglass. I was in the plastic business for about 10 years, so I use plastic. It's lighter and it was easier to handle for me. I couldn't imagine doing it out of a 4 by 6 panel of glass, lifting it up.
So before you had a furnace and everything, how long did you have to heat this? Like what months would you heat your house?
Oh, I
you
probably
need it.
burn about 2 cords of wood a year, and probably start seriously around the end of November. Sometimes not even, they don't even need much until December. And the worst months are January, February, and December and March. And then after that, it's just like just light a fire to keep it cozy, But these winters seem to be getting a little milder, so we use less and less wood. I know wood is kind of a polluting, but I mean the stove is rated for, to burn the wood twice, so it's pretty clean burn if you burn it hot. Little Susie, she's up here somewhere, shaking in her boots. Poor little Susie. We're getting ready to go on our trip. And yeah, that's about it in a nutshell.
Go all the way to the top?
Yep.
Woo-hoo. Mike, can I take this off?